Hello class, I'd like to give you another tutorial on CSS layout where I introduce columns. So these last couple tutorials we've been working on, those just have a sort of a 1, 2, 3, 4 like a header, menu, content just on down your page, sort of a horizontal layout. This one is a little more vertical where you have like a column on the left and column on the right. You could have a header at the top also. So it's just basically splitting your page into two. Now you can take the concept and use three, or if you get to where you want to do more advanced designs than these, the built-in CSS and Dreamweaver is a good option. So kind of where we're going to go from here is after I get done with the columns tutorial, I'll give you a couple tutorials probably next week where I introduce some images into the design, like background images for the whole page and for the division tags, and then also some basic like title images and links to make it look a little better. And then we'll talk more about the built-in CSS layouts in Dreamweaver. So this is what the site will look like. I mean, it won't look exactly like this, but this is what the layout will look like that we'll build. Has a column on the left, this ID on the left, and then it has one on the right. Also has a little spacer at the top, a little header, which we'll just leave that out for now. But it's actually very simple to build these layouts with columns. What I'm going to do is a brand new site, so I'll do site, new site. So I'm going to put this on the desktop and in the class in my website folder for our class websites, and I'll just call this CSS columns and click create. Some of these sites that I'll do, I will occasionally upload them for you so that you can see the design a little bit better. So I'll give you the link to that right alongside the tutorial link when I upload sites for you. So choose that, and I'll just go ahead and call this CSS columns. Click save. Okay, get rid of that. I'll do a file new, HTML5, no layout or anything, just click create. So again, the built-in Dreamweaver CSS templates are certainly easier, but they're not necessarily better, and you may not know what's going on, how they actually built them if you don't know the foundations like what we're going over now. I still like to build my sites this way, where I'm controlling the design exactly how I like it, but it's based on mock-ups in Photoshop. So, that's another thing you may want to consider is if you're going to do mock-ups in Photoshop, how is that going to translate into a CSS design? Because you don't want to rely on slicing in Photoshop that breaks your site apart and then reassembles it like a puzzle. That's just not a good way to design a website. It's going to make it too complicated. It's probably going to use tables for some of it, which is outdated. So you really want to have more control over it than that. So I'll go ahead and save that. Alright, so as I mentioned, this is very easy. So this is going to be CSS. I hate to say very easy. I'm not supposed to say that because it's not necessarily easy. It's just simple, compared to what we did for like the centered layout, the multiple division tags. It's like that. It's very, very simple. So first thing we want to do is have a container and then 2 division tags in that container. So I'll go back to my code. So division tag, okay, and then inside that division tag we're going to have 2 more. You can always come back and do it this way if you would rather. So this is going to be container. Okay, inside that division tag, we would need left and right division tags. Makes perfect sense, I would think. So division ID equals left, close that one, and then division ID equals, having trouble typing, right. So container, inside that container, left and right division tags with the IDs on it, and then close that container tag. Alright, back to the design. You probably won't see all of them in your design, which is fine. You don't need to. You just need to go put in your CSS now. So let's go ahead and define the container very quickly, and then let's do the left and right division tags. So I'll go ahead and save. Gonna do the new CSS rule. Okay, ID, container. We're gonna do new style sheet. Click OK. Save as styles.css and click save. And then your container is pretty much what you would expect. Let's do a box of 1,000 wide. Actually, to be able to see it, let's do 600. Okay, and the other thing I'm going to do is put a margin on here. I'm going to do a right auto and a left auto, so that'll center that. So there's our 600 wide. Now when you're doing a container on there, you don't want your two columns to add up to more than the container, or else it's gonna go outside of it. So if I did 1,000 for a container, you might do a column of like 300 and 600 and have it fit inside of that. So you can just experiment with it. Once you see this tutorial, I think you'll see kind of how you can build this on your own. I don't really want anything else on there. The container is going to be invisible, so I'll just leave it like that for right now. Okay, so that's one. All right, let's do left. So choose a name for the selector. Number sign left. Styles.css is where I define it, and click OK. Forgot to change that to ID. This is an ID. Okay, left. Let's go ahead and do the box first. That's probably going to be where most of the design is going to be. Let's do a width of 200. And then let's do a height so we can see it of 300. Okay, and then here's the most important thing to remember when you're doing two column layouts. The left column needs to float to the left and the right column needs to float to the right. If you're doing a 3-column layout, it gets a little more complicated, but we'll talk about that later. But 2-column layouts are very common, left and right. So the left division tag floats left and the right division tag floats right. So left on here, and let's go ahead and apply that. Let's go ahead and put a border on here so we can see that. So we'll do solid, thick, and we'll just do a black one so we can see it. Looks just like that. Okay, and then click OK. Alright, we got one more to do. So new CSS rule. ID is what we're using. Right. Define in styles.css. Click OK. And then this one, we'll go to the box. We'll make this one 300 by 300. And then float right. Okay, apply. Now let's go ahead and you can see we can make that a little larger, if we want to experiment with it. You can see it in the background there. Just make the design look a little bit better. Probably actually go 350. Okay, and then let's do the same border on here. Let's do solid, a thick border, do a little different color to set it apart. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and put a background in on this one also so that you can really see the difference. Okay, and that's all you need, so click OK. Okay, so there is a simple 2-column layout. Let me do a file save all, file preview in browser. Let's just check this one out in Chrome. Okay, and then you'll see a few things. This centers. Now it's way too small. I'm making it small for demonstration purposes only. Don't forget that. If I decided to design this site, a 2-column site for real, I would use a container that's automatically centered with the auto margins, but I'd probably use more like 1,000 for my width. That would fit a lot better in a 1024 by 768. But this little space that you get right here, you can adjust the column so that you don't see that, or you might like that design. Another thing you could do is put your column here like I've got for your content, and then leave the border off and put an image or something in here, so that with a transparent background or some text or something that makes the design look a little better. You can also put a division tag at the very top to bring it down if you need a title at the top, which you probably would. So anyway, that's it for this tutorial. I think this is a very important one. It's not especially complicated. You know, if you look at what we did here, we just did 3 division tags with the left and right inside the container. And then in the styles, we just did 3 styles, a container with the auto margins that you should have learned from the last tutorial, a width of 600, and then a left and right division tag, and the left floats left, and the right one floats to the right, and then the sum, the widths do not add up to more than 600, and then put some borders on there so you can see it. So I'll go ahead and upload this site and put the link so you can see that as well, just in case you need it or you want to check out the code again. But that'll be it for your 2-column basic CSS layout.